Welcome back to the channel. Rarest coins today, we are taking a deep dive into the legendary 1969 D Lincoln penny, a coin that has been surrounded by rumors, myths, and unbelievable price claims. You might have seen videos or articles claiming this penny is worth $1.8 million. But is that true? What is the real story behind this coin? And is there any version of it that can actually make you serious money? Let's break down the full history, the real value, and the rare discoveries that collectors look for. First, let's clear up the biggest misunderstanding. The 1969 D penny is not a wheat penny. Wheat pennies were minted from 1909 to 1958. The 1969 D penny is part of the Lincoln Memorial series, which ran from 1959 until 2008. Even though Lincoln's portrait is still on the front, the reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial instead of the wheat ears of the early design. Now let's talk about the year 1969 and why this date is special. The late 1960s were a high-production era for the United States Mint. The Denver Mint alone struck hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents in 1969. Because of that massive production, the majority of 1969 D pennies are extremely common. A regular circulated example is worth 1 cent. Even a clean, uncirculated example is usually only worth a small premium. So why does this coin have such an enormous legend around it? The answer lies in one of the most famous and valuable mint errors in American coin history, the 1969 South Double Die Lincoln Center. That coin, with the S mint mark from San Francisco, is extremely rare and can sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Only a small number are known to exist, and the doubling on the letters and date is dramatic and unmistakable. But here is where the confusion begins. Over the years, many people mixed up the 1969 S double die with the very common 1969 D penny. As the story spread, the wrong date and mint mark became attached to million-dollar price claims. Before long, people started saying the 1969 D penny was worth $1.8 million. Even though there has never been any sale anywhere near that amount. Now that we have separated the rumor from the truth, let's focus on what the 1969 D penny can really offer collectors. While most examples are common, there are rare versions that can be worth money. The first category is high-grade coins. A 1969 D penny that was never spent, never scratched, and never exposed to wear can achieve high mint state grades when examined by a grading service. Coins in Mint State 66 or Mint State 67 can sell for impressive prices because coins from this era were often struck with worn dies and weak detail. A sharply struck, perfectly preserved 1969 D penny is harder to find than you might think. These top-graded pieces can bring in hundreds of dollars and sometimes more depending on their color and luster. Now let's talk about mint errors, the most exciting part for collectors. Errors can transform an ordinary penny into a valuable find. Some 1969 D pennies were struck off-center, showing part of the design missing. Others have die cracks, lamination errors, broad strikes, double strikes, or other unusual mint mistakes. Depending on how dramatic the error is, these coins can sell for anywhere from $50 to several $100s. Collectors especially search for wrong planchet errors. This is when the penny design is struck onto a blank mint for another coin, such as a dime. These errors are rare and visually striking. A wrong planchet 1969 D penny could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on the metal and condition. So, even though the $1.8 million rumor is not real, the 1969 D penny still offers opportunities to find value if you know what to look for. Here's what you should check on your 1969 D pennies. First, examine the condition. Does the coin look new, shiny, and free of scratches? That increases the chance of having a high-grade piece. Next, check for errors. Look for off-center designs, doubling in the letters, cracks across the coin, unusually thick or thin metal, or anything that looks strange. Errors are often the key to real value. It is also important to understand why the million-dollar myth continues. People love the idea of finding a fortune in loose change. The story of valuable pennies spreads quickly because it is exciting and easy to believe. Even though the 1969 D penny is not the million-dollar version, the famous 1969 S double die has kept this date in the spotlight for decades. Over time, the two coins became confused, and the legend grew in the end. The 1969 D. Lincoln penny is a great example of how history, rumors, and real mint errors can collide. While the $1.8 million claim is nothing more than a myth, the search for high-grade and error varieties is absolutely real. And that search continues to bring excitement to collectors everywhere. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy learning the truth behind viral coin stories and discovering which coins actually have real value, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment telling me which coin you want me to explore next. If you want a shorter script, a more dramatic version, or a layout designed for a 3, 5, or 10-minute video, just let me know. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are taking a closer look at a coin that has become the subject of countless online rumors, the 1978 Lincoln penny. You may have seen videos or articles claiming that this simple brown penny could be worth $1.3 million. But is any of that true? What is the real history behind the 1978 penny? Which versions actually have value? And how did the million-dollar story even begin? Let's break it all down clearly and accurately. First, let's talk about the design and the era. Many people refer to all Lincoln cents as wheat pennies, but wheat pennies were only made from 1909 through 1958. Starting in 1959, the design changed to the Lincoln Memorial Reverse, which appears on the 1978 penny. So the 1978 penny is not a wheat cent. It is a Lincoln Memorial cent, part of the long-running series that millions of Americans grew up seeing in their daily change. The year 1978 came late in the memorial cent era, and the United States Mint struck hundreds of millions of pennies. Both the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint produced huge numbers, which means that most 1978 pennies are extremely common. A typical circulated example is worth only 1 cent, however. The real story lies in the small percentage of 1978 pennies that have something extra special about them. These include high-grade coins and rare mint errors. Let's begin with high-grade examples. A penny that was never used in circulation, never scratched, and kept in mint-fresh condition can earn extremely high grades when examined by a professional grading company. Grades like Mint State 66, Mint State 67, and especially Mint State 68 are very desirable. When a coin reaches these top tiers, collectors begin to pay serious money. Some of these high-end 1978 pennies have sold for hundreds of dollars, and the highest graded examples can sometimes sell for even more. Next, we enter the world of mint errors. Errors are one of the most exciting areas in coin collecting, and this is where real value can appear. The mint was producing billions of coins in the 1970s, and mistakes did happen. Some 1978 pennies showed dramatic off-center strikes, double strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, or die breaks. Depending on how unusual and eye-catching the error is, these coins can be worth from $50 to several $100s. One of the most valuable and rarest types of mint errors is a wrong planchet strike. This happens when the mint accidentally strikes a penny design onto a blank mint for a dime or another coin. These errors are rare, dramatic, and instantly recognizable. A discovery like this from 1978 could bring in hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Now let's address the big rumor, the claim that a 1978 penny is worth $1.3 million. This is one of those viral stories that spread across the internet without any actual evidence behind it. There has never been a verified sale of a 1978 penny for anything close to $1 million. The number usually comes from confusion with extremely rare early Lincoln cents or unique experimental coins from completely different dates. Some coins from the early 1900s, especially rare patterns or wrong metal strikes, have sold for massive amounts. Over time, those auction stories get mixed with the 1978 penny, and suddenly people start believing that this common coin is worth more than a luxury house. Even though the $1.3 million claim is not real, the 1978 penny still has qualities that make it interesting to collectors. It is part of a long historical series. It can appear with valuable mint errors, and high-grade examples are always in demand. Oh, how do you know if your 1978 penny might actually be worth something? First, examine the coin's condition. If it looks freshly minted with bright original luster and no scratches or wear, it might be worth sending to a grading company. Second, check carefully for errors. Look for off-center designs, doubling in the letters or numbers, cracks in the surface, or anything that looks strange. These are the kinds of things that make an ordinary penny valuable. The most valuable coins are the ones that stand out immediately. A dramatic error or a nearly flawless mint state example can be worth real money. While you will not find a $1,001,978 penny, you absolutely could find one worth far more than 1 cent. In the end, the 1978 Lincoln penny is a great example of how myths, facts, and collector excitement blend together. Although the $1.3 million rumor is not true, the coin still offers opportunities for real value through errors and high grading. And it reminds us that even everyday pocket change can hold exciting surprises. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy learning the truth behind viral coin stories and discovering which coins actually have real value, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below telling me which coin you want to explore next. If you want, I can also create a shorter version, a more dramatic script, or a version customized for a specific video length. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are exploring one of the most talked about and misunderstood coins in American pocket change, the 1972 Lincoln penny. You may have seen social media posts or videos claiming this coin is worth an incredible $1.5 million. But is that true? What is the real story behind the 1972 penny? What makes some versions genuinely valuable? And how did the million-dollar rumor even begin? Let's break down everything you need to know. First, let's clear up the most common misunderstanding. The 1972 penny is not a wheat penny. Wheat pennies were minted from 1909 through 1958. The 1972 penny is part of the Lincoln Memorial Cent series, which began in 1959 and continued until 2008. So although Abraham Lincoln's portrait is still featured on the front of the coin, the reverse shows the Lincoln Memorial, not the wheat ears of the earlier design. Now let's take a look at the history. The year 1972 was a massive production year for the United States Mint. The Philadelphia Mint alone produced hundreds of millions of pennies. With such enormous production, most 1972 pennies are extremely common. A regular circulated example is worth exactly 1 cent, and even most uncirculated pieces are only worth a small premium. So why is the 1972 penny famous? It is famous because of one of the most significant minting errors in the Lincoln Cent series, the 1972 double die obverse. This rare variety features dramatic doubling on the date and on the words Liberty and In God We Trust. The doubling is bold, clear, and visible to the naked eye. Only a small number of these coins exist compared to the total mintage, which makes them extremely desirable to collectors. A genuine double die 1972 penny can be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars, depending on condition. High-grade examples certified by professional grading companies can bring large five-figure prices. This is the origin of the coin's legend and the reason this date keeps appearing in videos about rare pennies. But now we need to address the million-dollar rumor. Some people claim the 1972 penny is worth $1.5 million. This is not based on any real auction result. No verified sale has ever reached that amount for a 1972 penny. The myth often comes from confusion with incredibly rare early Lincoln cents from the 1900s or one-of-a-kind experimental coins that did sell for high six-figure or seven-figure amounts. Over time, these stories get blended together, and suddenly people start believing that the 1972 penny itself is a million-dollar treasure. Even though it is not worth $1.5 million, the 1972 penny does have genuine value in certain situations, and that is what collectors search for. What makes a 1972 penny valuable? First, the big one is the double die obverse. This is the most famous and most valuable variety from this year. The doubling is strong and obvious. If you find one of these in mint state condition, it can be worth hundreds, thousands, or even more depending on the grade. Second, there are several lesser double die varieties that are much more subtle. These are not worth nearly as much, but can still sell for tens or even hundreds of dollars if they are in excellent condition. Third, high-grade regular 1972 pennies can also bring value. A perfectly preserved mint state penny from this year, especially in grades like mint state 66 or mint state 67, can sell for a nice premium. These upper-end coins are harder to find than most people think because the vast majority of pennies from the 1970s were heavily circulated. Finally, mint errors are another category to explore. Off-center strikes, broad strikes, die breaks, die cracks, and wrong planchet errors can significantly raise the value of a 1972 penny. A dramatic mint error can be worth anywhere from $50 to several $100s or more, depending on its rarity and visual impact. So, how do you check your own 1972 pennies? First, look carefully at the date and the word Liberty. If the doubling is bold and obvious, you may have the famous double die variety. The doubling will not look blurry or split. It will look like clear, second impressions of the letters. Next, check the overall condition. A bright, shiny penny with no scratches or where has a much better chance of being valuable. Clean, crisp details around Lincoln's hair, beard, and coat folds are signs of a well-preserved coin. Finally, check for anything unusual. Is the coin off-center? Is the metal cracked or raised? Is part of the design missing? These could be mint errors worth investigating further. In the end, the 1972 Lincoln penny is a perfect example of how everyday coins can have extraordinary stories. While the $1.5 million rumor is just that, a rumor, the truth is still exciting. The 1972 double die is one of the most important and valuable varieties of the entire Lincoln series, and high-grade examples or dramatic errors can bring real money to SO. The next time you see a 1972 penny in your change, take a closer look. You might not be holding $1 million, but you might still be holding something worth far more than 1 cent. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy learning the truth behind viral coin claims and exploring which coins actually have real value, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below which coin you want me to cover next. If you'd like, I can make a shorter script, a more dramatic version, or one written for a specific video length like 3, 5, or 10 minutes. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are breaking down the truth behind one of the most talked about and misunderstood coins circulating online, the 1987 Lincoln penny. Recently, this coin has been featured in videos and posts claiming it is worth an incredible $1.4 million. But is any of that true? What is the real value of the 1987 penny, and what rare versions might actually be worth money? Let's dive into the full story, the history, the real market value, and the myth behind the $1 million claim. First, let's clear up a common misunderstanding. The 1987 penny is not a wheat penny. Wheat pennies were only made from 1909 through 1958. Beginning in 1959, the reverse design changed to the Lincoln Memorial, and by 1987 this design had already been used for nearly 3 decades. So even though the front of the coin shows Abraham Lincoln, the 1987 penny is part of the Lincoln Memorial series, not the wheat penny series. Next, let's look at the year 1987 itself. This was a high-production year for the United States Mint. Both the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of pennies. As a result, most 1987 pennies are extremely common. A normal circulated example is generally worth only 1 cent. Even most uncirculated examples are only worth a small amount above face value. So why does this coin attract so much attention? Why does it appear in so many videos claiming a value of $1.4 million? The simple answer is misinformation. Over time, rare pennies from the early 1900s and unique mint errors from different years have had 6-figure or 7-figure auction results. Those stories get mixed together and attached to the wrong coin. Eventually, the rumor spreads that an ordinary 1987 penny is worth more than a luxury home. But there has never been a verified sale anywhere close to $1.4 million for a 1987 penny. However, while the $1 million rumor is not true, that does not mean the 1987 penny has no value. There are rare situations where this coin can bring real money, and collectors do look for specific varieties. Let's start with high-grade examples. A 1987 penny that has never circulated, never been scratched, never been exposed to damage, and shows crisp detail can earn high Mint State grades from professional grading companies. Grades like Mint State 66, Mint State 67, and Mint State 68 can bring in much higher prices because truly flawless coins from this era are surprisingly difficult to find. A top-graded 1987 penny can sell for hundreds of dollars and sometimes more, depending on the color, luster, and overall strike quality. Next, let's talk about mint errors. Errors are where the real excitement begins. Even in the 1980s, with improved technology and tighter quality control, mistakes still happened at the United States Mint. Some 1987 pennies were struck off-center. Others may show double strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, die breaks, or other unusual flaws. These errors can be worth anywhere from $50 to several $100 depending on their size and visibility. Collectors especially search for wrong planchet errors. A wrong planchet coin is created when a penny is accidentally struck on a blank mint for another denomination, like a dime. These are rare and instantly noticeable because the coin will look thinner, lighter, or smaller than a normal penny. A 1987 penny struck on a dime planchet could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on its condition and the dramatic nature of the error. Another category to consider is proof coins. Although 1987 proof pennies were not struck at the Denver or Philadelphia facilities for circulation, the San Francisco Mint produced proof sets. Proof pennies from 1987 can be valuable when found in perfect, flawless condition. Deep cameo or ultra cameo examples with strong contrast can sell for impressive premiums. So how do you know whether your 1987 penny might be worth real money? First, look at the coin's condition. If it appears brand new with sharp details and no scratches, you may have a high-grade example worth submitting to a grading company. Second, examine the coin closely for errors. Look for doubling on the letters or numbers, off-center designs, cracks in the metal, unusual shapes, or anything that appears inconsistent with a normal penny. Finally, consider the coin's color and luster. Collectors value bright red uncirculated pennies more than brown or toned examples to eye in the end. The 1987 Lincoln penny is a fascinating example of how rumors can spin ordinary coins into viral legends. While the $1.4 million claim has no foundation in real auctions or records, there are still genuine opportunities for value in this coin. High-grade examples, dramatic mint errors, and rare wrong planchet strikes can all bring real money to collectors to own. Next time you see a 1987 penny in your change, take a moment to look closely. You might not be holding a $1 million coin, but you could still be holding something special. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy learning the truth behind viral coin claims and discovering which coins actually have real value, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below which coin you want me to cover next. If you want, I can create a shorter version, a more dramatic storytelling style, or a script tailored for a specific video length such as 3, 5, or 10 minutes. Welcome back to the channel. Today we are taking a closer look at a coin many people see every day, but few people truly understand: the 1997 Lincoln penny. Recently, this coin has been the subject of countless viral videos claiming it is worth $1.3 million. But is that true? What is the real value of this coin? What errors or varieties make it valuable? And how did the $1 million myth even begin? Let's dive into everything you need to know about the 1997 penny, its history, and its hidden potential. First, let's clear something up. The 1997 penny is not a wheat penny. Wheat pennies were minted from 1909 through 1958. The 1997 penny is a Lincoln Memorial cent, part of the modern copper-plated zinc series that began in 1982. That means the coin is mostly zinc with a thin outer layer of copper. Even though the front of the coin still shows Abraham Lincoln, the reverse design features the Lincoln Memorial, not wheat ears. Now let's talk about the year itself. In 1997, the Denver Mint produced hundreds of millions of pennies. Because so many were made, the majority of 1997 pennies are extremely common. A normal circulated example is worth exactly 1 cent, and even uncirculated examples usually have only a small premium. So how did this coin end up in videos claiming it is worth $1.3 million? The answer is simple: confusion and misinformation. People often mix up high-value rare pennies from the early 1900s or from special minting errors with common modern pennies like the 1997 Over time, these stories get blended together until the claims take on a life of their own. No verified sale of a 1997 penny has ever reached anything close to $1 million. However, that does not mean the 1997 penny has no value. There are certain versions that collectors truly want and are willing to pay serious money for. These include high-grade coins, rare errors, and unusual varieties. Let's start with high-grade examples. A 1997 penny that has never been spent, never been scratched, and kept in perfect original condition can receive high mint state grades from professional grading companies. Grades like Mint State 66, Mint State 67 and Mint State 68 are extremely rare for this date because the copper plating on these pennies is thin and easily damaged. A high-grade 1997 D penny with bright, original red color can sell for hundreds of dollars depending on its quality. The more flawless the coin, the more valuable it becomes. Next, let's explore mint errors. Errors are where real money can be found with modern pennies. Even with modern minting technology, mistakes still happen. Some 1997 D pennies were struck off-center, causing part of the design to be missing. Others may show broad strikes, double strikes, die cracks, die breaks, or lamination issues. These errors can sell anywhere from $50 to several $100s, depending on how dramatic and unusual they are. One of the most exciting possibilities is a wrong planchet error. This happens when the penny design is accidentally struck on a blank intended for another denomination, such as a dime. This kind of error will make the coin lighter, sometimes smaller, and instantly recognizable. A wrong planchet 1997 D penny could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on its condition and visibility. Another area collectors look for is die varieties. While the 1997 D penny does not have any famous double die varieties like older years, minor doubling and small anomalies in the design can still attract collector interest, especially when combined with high-grade condition. So how can you tell if your 1997 D penny might be worth money? First, check the condition. If your coin looks fresh from the mint with strong red color, sharp details, and no visible scratches, it may be a high-grade candidate. Second, inspect the coin carefully for errors. Look for off-center strikes, doubling on the letters or numbers, cracks in the metal, or anything that appears unusual. Error coins are often the most valuable finds for modern dates. Third, compare the coin's weight if you can. A penny that was struck on the wrong planchet will often weigh less than the standard amount. Even though the $1.3 million claim is nothing but a myth, the truth is still exciting. Some 1997 D pennies can bring real value, and collectors love searching through modern change for these hidden treasures. In the end, the 1997 D Lincoln penny reminds us of something important. Even the most ordinary-looking coin can carry an extraordinary story. While you will not find a $1 million version of this coin, you might still discover an error or high-grade example worth far more than face value. That is the thrill of coin collecting. It turns everyday change into a treasure hunt. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy learning the truth behind viral coin rumors and discovering which coins actually have real value, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment telling me which coin you want me to cover next. If you want a shorter script, a dramatic version, or a layout timed for 3, 5, or 10-minute videos, just let me know.